We begin with President Trump, who spent part of the day trying to repair a strained relationship with the top Republican in the Senate.
And Mr. Trump then spent the rest of the day lashing out at past presidents, claiming that they did not respect Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. KCAL 9 political reporter Dave Bryan is here to explain it all. Dave?
Definitely some mixed messages today, but the unity portion is about let's get something passed through Congress. President Trump presided over a nearly 45-minute question and answer session with reporters in the White House Rose Garden and had very different messages for two different audiences. Steve Bannon and the alt-right on one side, and Senator Mitch McConnell and the establishment Republicans on the other side. Facing the prospect of a bitterly divided Republican Party trying to defend its majorities on Capitol Hill in next year's midterm elections, President Trump spoke out about his conservative ally and former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon's campaign to support far-right challengers to establishment Republican Congress members and senators, essentially telling his cabinet that some establishment Republicans deserve to be challenged.
I know how he feels. Depends on who you're talking about. There are some Republicans, frankly, that should be ashamed of themselves.
But then the president taking a much softer approach a couple of hours later at an impromptu news conference outside the White House with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell by his side, the epitome of establishment Republicans, who is Bannon's target number one.
We've cut your oxygen off, Mitch. Right now, it's a season of war against a GOP establishment.
Steve is doing what Steve thinks is the right thing. Some of the people that he may be looking at, I'm going to see if we talk him out of that, because frankly, they're great people.
McConnell responded by pointing out that dividing the party is not a winning strategy.
You have to nominate people who can actually win, because winners make policy and losers go home.
Just a couple of hours earlier at that cabinet meeting, the president was lashing out at Congress for failing to pass key legislation.
We're not getting the job done. And I'm not going to blame myself, I'll be honest. They are not getting the job done.
But after their lunch at the White House, the president and the Senate Majority Leader strolled into the Rose Garden to convince the country they are the best of friends and teammates for the Republican cause.
Despite what we read, we're probably now, I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, closer than ever before.
We have the same agenda. We've been friends and acquaintances for a long time.
On another subject, Mr. Trump was asked why he had not yet commented on the 4 U.S. soldiers killed 12 days ago in Niger. He said he had written to the families and would call them soon, and then charged that other presidents, including his predecessor, never made phone calls to the families of servicemen and women who were killed in action.
If you look at President Obama and other presidents, most of them didn't make calls. A lot of them didn't make calls.
But a few minutes later, when he was challenged about the truthfulness of that charge, that President Obama and other presidents did not make phone calls to the families of fallen soldiers, President Trump retreated.
I don't know if he did. No. I was told that he didn't often, and a lot of presidents don't. They write letters. President Obama, I think, probably did sometimes, and maybe sometimes he didn't. I don't know. That's what I was told. All I can do is ask my generals.
And finally, President Trump, already gearing up his campaign for a second term in the White House, seemed to taunt his 2016 opponent to try it again.
I hope Hillary runs. Is she going to run? I hope. Hillary, please run again.
Well, the fact is, President Obama not only responded to the families of fallen military people with calls and letters, but he often met with the mourning families. And a former senior aide to President Obama called President Trump's false charge an expletive lie and charged Trump as a deranged animal. And those were his exact words. Lena, Jeff, back to you.